Hello, welcome to Football 301. I'm your host, Nate Tice. We're live after the afternoon games wrapped up of week 15. We're here to react and recap and analyze and ogle and pull our hair out. Maybe shed a few tears over some injuries today. But to help me do that, like every single Sunday, to recap a great day of NFL games, a very entertaining day, my guy, Mr. Forverts, Charles McDonald. How you doing today, Chuck? You're no more knocked Ethernets or laptops over
No,
there.
no,
We
no.
swinging elbows like Carl Malone over there before we went live.
I was just energized by the chaotic Bo Nix energy, man. I don't know. I was just tripping all over the place, but we still got here when we needed to, just like our savior. I'm starting to like appreciate watching him. It's kind of fun. Like I started calling him Bad Process Bo, and it's just perfect because there's so many plays where he just, I don't know, just driving around back there. But look, they're 12-2, and they control their destiny to number one seed in the AFC. Who would have thought?
Dice roll Bo. Let's get into that. We're going to take you through all the ups and downs of week 15 with 3 highs, 3 lows, and high number 1. And it seems like they always play it feels like the late afternoon game. Their games seem to take forever. We got the Broncos beating the Packers 34-26. Broncos with the sole possession of the 1 seed in the AFC. And I think Bo Nix, like you just hinted at, probably played, I think, the best game of his career. Going against the Packers defense. Yes, that lost Micah Parsons with an ACL injury. One of 2 notable ACL injuries today. We'll get to the other one later with Patrick Mahomes. But I thought he had a lot of plays out of structure that were great plays. He had a couple frustrating moments, but I also just thought he had some unbelievable throws. Probably one of the best games as far as success rate and dropback success rate, or dropback success rate and EPA per dropback, net yards per attempt, 8.9. He finished with 303 total yards, 4 touchdowns, did not take a sack, and I believe did not get hit the entire day, which speaks to him, the O-line, the offensive system. I thought some of the play calling was great from Sean Payton. I think your observation about the Packers defense kind of tapering off as games go along outside the opening script and Sean Payton cranking it up after the opening script, I think that was dead on with this game and how it played out. No, but I thought this was, if you want to make an argument that the Broncos are a legit contender and like a legit contender, not just, playoff team, haha, in the AFC, this was the game to point at because this made me feel just way better about them. But what'd you think about this game and a Broncos huge win at home?
No, I'm with you. I think this game, it kind of changes, like, it changes what I think about them. Like, if they can play like that and get into the situation, really, like at the end of the game, your defense has a chance to pin its ears back and really just attack an offense that's trying to score. Like that's ultimately, I think, where the Broncos would love to find themselves, probably in some of these clutch moments, because when man, that late game or the last 2 drives that the Packers had, if you want to call like that last little thing that they had, like a full drive, I mean, they just, like I said, they just pinned their ears back and they let it go. And the defensive line got up the field. Nick Bonito was absolutely dusting their offensive line. And I know, everyone's a little banged up on the Green Bay side of the ball. They lost Christian Watson today. It looks like he broke his collarbone. So really tough day for them. But still, like the Broncos' ability to be in that game at the end and have their defensive spot to close it. I mean, a lot of it was because of Bo Nix. I mean, the touchdown that he hit, I think it was Cortland Sutton, like up the seam where he was like standing on the right hash and threw it left, like deep down on the back shoulder. Like that was really nice. Like I'm with you. I thought that was the best game he's probably ever played in his whole career. And look, I mean, Micah Parsons was in there for most of the game, and Micah was still getting his pressure, and it was kind of weird. Like Bo was just kind of doing it. Some of these plays doing his little magician thing, and then he's hightailing back across the field, and next thing you know, they've gotten explosive. So that's kind of like where maybe I discounted Bo like as a prospect. I kind of undersold like some of his physical gifts, and then you see him do stuff like that and rip a throw on the run. I'm like, man, now he's pretty gifted. Just got to get that process down.
Yeah, just got to hone it in a little bit. But no, I agree with you. He pulled away from some, like you said, with Parsons when he was in there. I thought there was a 4th and 3 he hit Cortland Sutton on late in the game. And that was one of those where I actually was more like to Jeff Hafley and the Packers. I was like, you can't run man coverage against Bo Nix. And because I talked about this in the preview show, I wrote about it. He's a top 10 quarterback against man. He's a bottom 10 quarterback against zone. And on that play was the perfect kind of encapsulation of what I mean by that, because it's 4th down, isolated Cortland Sutton, man coverage, and they, rather than reading out like the drive concept, where drive is a crosser and a dig that they had over the middle of the field, he just takes the one-on-one go ball. Corbin Sutton wins, boom, done like that. And like he can, when he's on fire, he can roll because he's got a big arm.
Yeah.
That's why he's so good in the red zone, actually kind of clicked for me. I want to say it was a Troy Franklin touchdown, but that was the design I liked. It was like a scissors concept. And Bo Nix or Sean Payton's going to, especially in the red zone, is going to really dial up some plays. Like, and you need arm strength in the red zone to really succeed in the NFL because you got to drive on a lot of throws. And that's where I'm starting to see it click a little bit, why he gets some of these touchdowns in the red zone. Some of them were great design. Some of them were just gimmies, play action boots. But these plays were kind of the perfect where you can use Nix's gifts. Just he hits the post route, skinny post, whatever you want to call it. And like he fires that thing in there. And yes, it's like just like touch behind, but it's perfect. It pins it right on the receiver. DBs can't make a play because the ball's on the receiver so quick. So like you said, Andy can run around a little bit. I thought, the Packers just had some sloppy moments. Like we had a Matt LaFleur emotional challenge. Wicks bobbles the ball. Riley Moss intercepts it. The 3rd and 3, they get a stop on the sprint out in the red zone. And then they have 12 on the field. Because the guy's running on late, it was just after that injury happened, after that interception to Christian Watson on the deep ball, he gets hurt. Patrick Surtain makes a great play on it. Then it just all unraveled from there. And that's when the Packers were up 9, we're up 2 scores, and we're trying. And this is Christian Watson. This is Jordan Love, the Kobe guy all the way. You could sometimes call him a sociopath. Is that he's just going for the kill shot there. Yeah, untrustworthy. And you love him for he makes the fadeaway throws of Romeo Doubs, but then sometimes this is the double-edged sword of how he plays and what their offense system is like, especially when they couldn't just run the ball. But no, I really did think that this is to win this type of game again for the Broncos. And it's not like, you could say, they won at home, but it's like, yeah, but they're the 1 seed. They might get all their games at home. So I don't know. This was more complete. I feel better about the offense in this game because I respect the Packers defense more than maybe other defenses that they played against.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's kind of cool here for the Broncos defense is, man, Jordan Love is not the quarterback that I would pick to play against in that scenario. I mean, just the way that he can rip off explosives and like the physical ability he has throwing the ball and getting away from pressure. And they just shut that down on the last 2 drives, like when they needed to. So, hey, that's what the big time defenses do. That's what they didn't do last time they were in the playoffs. So, like you said, like we've been saying, this changes the scope of what I think is possible for them. I thought they were just, not because I was thinking about like what's a good comparison for them. And I was thinking like 2019 Titans. Like, no, that's way too rude. That's way too rude. They're definitely better than those. For sure. Because the defense is legitimately that team, but still,
and that team was so explosive on offense. Yeah.
This is a Super Bowl contender for sure. Definitely a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I know. It's just that every AFC team started.
You said about 12-2 team. Yep.
I know that, but you got to feel good about them. Like that's the thing. It's like I don't know, but they're putting more positive performances. I mean, after that Thursday night game against the Raiders, they've really kind of swallowed their pride a little bit. I'm curious if there's a study, if there is some splits that I can maybe look at. But really, since they took that little mini bye and got kind of embarrassed at home, remember they were getting booed at home. And ever since then, I feel like the offense has kind of found its way. It's not all perfect, but no offenses are perfect. But man, this is perfect for them and how they have to win this year. And I think it just definitely works for them. And I thought on the other side of the ball, their defense is their defense. They make it hard. The Packers offense is a juggernaut. Like I know like they're so hard to stop. And I know they kind of tapered off it throughout this game, but they're just hard to stop for 4 quarters over and over to stop them getting explosive, stop them hitting big plays. And man, they can do a lot of the hard stuff that Broncos defense. Jordan Love was nailing those outbreakers. And I was like, oh, they got him. But then just kind of just tighten down. Sweet Josh Jacobs catch, by the way, on that touchdown. That was pretty sick. And Riley Moss finally got rewarded on a play. He got another BS pass interference or defensive holding. And then he actually finally finished with an interception. So it's like, we told you, he's actually pretty good, guys. I swear Riley Moss is good. I swear.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good player. Yeah. Unfortunately, he just plays across a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I right. It's just you're gonna get thrown out more than Patrick Surtain. I don't know. That's just the name of the game. But even like the plays that the Packers made, I thought like sometimes they they showed off like the quality of the Broncos defense, like that ridiculous touchdown catch that Josh Jacobs had in the corner. Like he was pinned to the sideline by Dre Greenlaw. I mean, maybe you would love to be like a half step faster there for Greenlaw, but it's kind of nitpicking. Like you're in a good spot, and they were able to make it in those tight quarters. Like they really do just make it really, really tough on you. I'm kind of interested just to see like who they draw in the first round of or whenever if they skip the first round or if they play in the wild card, who they draw, because the way that they're kind of peaking right now on defense, at least just in terms of like how it's all fitting together, because I know they've had games where they've given up fewer than 26 points, but I still thought that was a really impressive performance against for them against a Super Bowl level offense. And we just got to see, like, can Bo Nix just hold together enough to go to a Super Bowl run? I mean, everyone else seems kind of ready.
Right. And I mean, the rest of the AFC is just so up and down. So every team just feels so Jekyll and Hyde, which we're going to talk about game after game. The Packers still have a 93% chance to make the playoffs. Not going to be the 1 seed. If they win next week, they have the Bears, the Ravens, and Vikings. Basically, if they win, they're in. They have basically just one of these games and they win. They can still host, about 50-50 shot of hosting. And then, the Broncos are just sitting in prime spot in the AFC. It's funny when you look at the New York Times Athletics playoff probabilities and which links crash. You can tell which fan bases are a little excited when they're looking or a little sad. Like the Chiefs one crashed right after they lost, because I was trying to look it up and I was like, oh, I think a lot of people are looking at that 0% and celebrating. But no, Broncos going to be, just going to be a big, big team to watch in the playoffs. I think this was it felt like their most legit win this season. And I'm just feeling better about them every time, especially since that little Thursday night game against the Raiders. They've really been turning it on, especially both sides of the ball. All right, let's get to high number 2. This was an AFC East battle. The Patriots lose to the Bills at home at Gillette Stadium. The Bills keep that division hope alive in the AFC East. Make a big comeback, down 3 scores at halftime. And I thought that Travion Henderson run in the fourth quarter, I was like, oh, sorry, Sean McDermott, this could be a little scary. Got some decisions to make. But nope, the Bills pulled it off. I thought the splits in this game were pretty hysterical in terms of first half to second half. The Bills in the I'm sure you looked it up too. The Bills in the second half ran 46 plays. The Patriots ran 18 plays. Bills had a 51% success rate. This is True Media. Patriots had a 20% success rate. The Patriots only had 1 successful run the entire second half. That was that long Henderson touchdown. Only 4 total successful plays the entire second half. I'm going to, in a minute, be like, this is what I was worried about. But the Bills cranked it up in the second half. Their defense played well. They had some cool defensive game plan stuff I'll talk about. But I thought, their offense just started churning, and it was just run after run. 52% rushing success rate, 0.53 EPA per dropback. Only had 2 negative runs, 0 sacks in the second half, average over 7.5 yards per play in the second half. They really cranked it up in the second half, and it was like, oh, yeah, you guys are very good. And take this one from the Patriots in a very entertaining football game. What'd you think about this one, Chuck?
Yeah, that was fun, because I that first half I was like, oh no, like, am I about to just have to get owned by like Patriots fans on the internet for a couple days? Because we
were both pretty adamant that we thought the Bills were going to win this one. I was thinking the same thing.
Because I think I've said it to almost everyone I talk to, like, consistently about football. Like, I keep saying, I think this Patriots defense is going to meet a horrific death in the playoffs at some point. And I think today in the second half, got a glimpse of what that could look like, because, man, it just felt like Buffalo could do. Like, they could do no wrong, basically. Just in the second half alone, they ran 46 plays for 273 yards, which, for some teams, like, that's a whole game's worth of production. They were a whole game. But I think what maybe tipped the scales in their favor, fourth quarter, their average starting field position was a 47-yard line, and it felt like that too, because you have like all these games on. But when I was looking at the Bills in the fourth quarter, I was like, man, like, they are, like, at midfield, they're getting close, like, or in the red zone every time they have the ball. And when you're spotting like Josh Allen that much field position, you're going to give up a lot of points, like, in a short amount of time. So the Patriots only ran 8 plays in the fourth quarter compared to 26 to the Bills. So they just kind of tapered off. I think as the game went along, I thought Drake May was fine. Like, I thought like he had to do a lot to carry the load, and this is kind of what it looks like if he's not going to have maybe like the gaudy statistical pass performances. You still need the explosives from guys like Travion Henderson, and you need some steady running from Ramondre Stevenson, which they got today. But also, that's Buffalo's defense. Like everyone's running for 200 yards on Buffalo. It's not that hard. So I'm not sure like what we learned about the Patriots today outside of I think we're probably still right to say maybe not like a super high class Super Bowl contender, because you still do see like areas of the roster where they could get a whole lot better, especially on defense. And like in the second half, they just got ran over.
It's what you've used this kind of just this analysis when talking about the Commanders. You're like, oh yeah, this team was picking number 2 last year. Patriots, it's like, oh yeah, they were picking number 3 last year, and then number 6 this year. Yeah. So that's what they kind of felt like in the second half. Yeah. You see the lack of just difference makers, especially Milton Williams is out, who is the guy they signed and spent a bunch of money on him for this defense. And going into this week, or breaking down this game, previewing it, even writing about, I wrote about the Patriots, I wrote about all the AFC contenders. I kind of noticed they just have some really stark splits. Like, and early downs, they do some certain things well. Late downs, they do certain things well. But then on the opposite side, like on late downs, they're really good against the pass. I think they're first in success rate against the pass. They're dead last against the run. James Cook ran for a touchdown on 3rd and goal. I noticed on one of those. This early downs, if you get them into sub, into nickel, they're pretty bad. They're 25th in success rate, 31st in passing success rate, 22nd in EP per play. This is going into this week. And then sure enough today, I was curious if the Bills would go a lot of tight end looks. They use Reggie Gilliam. They use a bunch of receiver looks. And it was kind of a little bit of everything. But they got the Patriots into nickel a lot today. 31 plays, 172 yards, 61% success rate the Bills had when they got the Patriots into nickel defense. So they just have these things you can really pick at against them. Early downs, I'm going to get them the light bodies, and I'm going to throw on them. Like, because they're pretty basic. And they even talked about it. Like, they like to run quarters and keep a net on everything. And it's like, not, bend but don't break. But I don't know. You kind of need to make some plays happen. Otherwise, you just get punched in the face if your offense isn't doing anything. And that's what the whole second half felt like. And it felt like they just got manipulated a lot. Like their yards before contact has dropped off in the last like 5-6 weeks. Like now they've become like a bottom 5 run defense in the last like 5-6 weeks. And it's like just when they run too high, they just let up a lot. They yield a lot. You were laughing. Was there some off of that? It's just like
every time you hear like a defensive coordinator or a DB's coach say that, we want to play top down. We want to build a net. Okay, well, how would you play if you thought your DBs were good though? That's what I'm more interested in. It's like this shows like you're kind of scared. You're kind of scared of your players when you're playing like that, which is I think it's fair. Like, I do too. Davis White starting out there at cornerback. It ain't 2017 anymore,
Yeah, they when I was looking too, it was I wanted to talk about on the other side first off, Josh Allen too had some just unbelievable throws. Also, in the last game, Jordan Love had a throw to Romeo Doubs that Tony Romo didn't shut up about for like 10 minutes, and I agree with him. I totally agree with Tony. Where he was just like, "Oh my god." Like, I can't believe it. Oh my God. And I was right there with Tony. I clipped it right away. I was like, rewind the clip because I just couldn't believe it either. But that one got me. But Josh Allen had a throw to Dalton Kincaid on like a dig, and even his touchdown throw to Dawson Knox. Both of them were just such sick throws that just anytime he manipulates things even when he doesn't have the ball. The Patriots have to go for it on 4th down because they don't want to punt the ball back. Because it's like, I'm not giving the ball back to Josh Allen. And that, I don't know, it's that Tiger Woods effect where they did that study where it's like the opposing team or all opposing golfers are already down 1 stroke because they're already intimidated of Tiger Woods before they even played. And that's just how it feels like with Josh Allen or like when the Patriots or the Chiefs were rolling. But no, I just thought this was the Bills in the second half, I would say, just felt so much better about what they can do. And I have some game plan stuff I'll talk about too, but I've been talking for a minute. But any other observations in this game? Maybe something from anything else the Bills did or Patriots did?
I guess give a shout out to Travion Henderson. He had a good game today, and that's kind of why you just keep giving him the ball and wait, because every once in a while you're going to break one. You play against Buffalo, you're going to break one. And I remember we talking about just last week, all in the preview show, we were just kind of talking about teams playing heavy. And when you look at the Patriots, if they had no more than 2 receivers on the field, 13 carries, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, with like almost a 50% success rate. So it's not all just like 2 runs and fluff. Like they were kind of getting things going when they got big. And that's the kind of the scary part for Buffalo, because that's not really a difficult plan for offenses to figure out against you. Oh, let's just get heavier, and they can't stop it. And they're kind of scared of their own DBs. Like the fact that they even had stretches of good defense, or even like the second half, I think it's still a testament to how good Sean McDermott can be at orchestrating this and putting it together. But man, it's kind of tough to think that they could go on a run with a defense like this. But shoot, now that like the Chiefs are out of the playoffs for good, there's no one that's like super scary now that you've beaten New England at New England.
I know.
I guess you're looking at Denver for Buffalo, but shoot, I feel like Buffalo, even though they're going to be like on the outside looking in from a home playoff game, they still have just as good a chance of anyone because they have Josh Allen in that offense. But again, defense was scary, and you saw what today.
If the season ended, or the projected standings right now on the Athletics model, the Bills would be the 5 seed. They would play the Steelers from round 1. But we just saw that game. We just saw what happened. Like, I would like Rodgers isn't really scaring you. But I agree. I would say the first half, the Patriots, like, because they're coming out of bye week, had a great run game plan. All this outside stuff. They did the zone read with Drake May. He runs for a touchdown. It's like, oh yeah, Drake May's a great athlete. I think it was only his 7th design run of the year. It might have been less than that. It might have been like 4 or 5. His 4th design run of the season, if you remove sneaks. And I thought that was just a great thing. I think you sprinkled that more in as the playoffs go along. And then, so all these outside runs, though, and I get that because you're taking advantage of how the Bills like to play. They usually like to have guys off ball so you can get little angles on there. Their ends can play really aggressive, especially Joey Bosa. But then, man, again, in the second half, I noticed it more, but it might have been throughout the whole game. And odd mirror was it's going to be big in the Chiefs game once I talk about that, which is when you rush 3 and you have basically 2 QB spies. But the last play, the 4th down that I keep referring to, the 4th and ball game play for the Patriots, the Bills showed 5 across on it, and I rewatched it. May points to Dorian Williams, who's on the over the left tackle. So it's 5 across. Joey Bosa's over the right tackle. Dorian Williams over the left tackle. 3 other guys in the middle. And then they blitz Shaq Thompson, the Bills do, and drop both ends. And so they run man coverage behind it, but then they have 2 hole players. So like in the middle of the field, because you're occupying the running back with Shaq Thompson. So the Patriots on it they run mesh, which is becoming like my least favorite play in football. So they're running mesh, and the Bills are like, hey, I recognize that play. They freaking hem up Mac Hollins, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry. No one even gets like off the line of scrimmage. So that's already done. But even if they did run free, the 2 droppers, Williams and Bosa, they're in the middle to muck up mesh, to like muck up that exact play. The only route that was even available was Kayshon Boutte on a corner, which is not where your eyes are going to go on it. But I was like, more defenses are doing this, but I was like, Sean McDermott has thrown us in against some of these athletic quarterbacks. He's done this against Mahomes. Now he did it against Drake May. So they're bringing like, you can call it a simulated pressure or a creeper. They're only bringing 4, but technically it's a blitz because you're bringing Shaq Thompson, and that takes away the running back. So you only have 4 guys on routes, and you have 7 in coverage, and 2 of them are over the middle of the ball where you have 2 crossing routes. So I'm going to talk more about this in the Chargers-Chiefs game. But man, I just thought that was a great play call on there because May had nobody. Like, and you could tell he was protected, and then he scrambles to the right, and then Joey Bosa just falls off and gets right in his grill. It's just it was a nice little change up from them. And it's like once you get to the playoffs and all these teams, I feel like have a unit that's iffy, and for the Bills it's their defense. At least I trust the coach. At least McDermott can dial up a game plan. And so I don't know. Again, we just talked a little bit about the Broncos. Oh yeah, Sean Payton. It's kind of like that with the Bills and the Bills defense. It's like, oh yeah, Sean McDermott. Like, of course we got Josh Allen, which is the Broncos defense in this case in the run game. But I don't know. They have these moments and they have these game plans. I'm like, God, you are damn good at it. And I know you've been saying that as well. You're like, McDermott's pretty dang good at this game planning stuff.
I mean, dude, look, I've seen more talented defenses have worse performances like overseas in long stretches. So it's just really going to take, sometimes it really is just simple as like, they're just going to have to get better players in there. And that could be a crapshoot
Yeah.
within itself. That can get you fired, but I still think still a good coach. Not maybe, not as a I don't really know like what people really want from him because I don't know, it seems to get things done.
Just wins games.
Just wins games, hires a good staff.
They want him to have funny press conferences. They want him to be a fun quote. Chuck, don't you know that's all that matters? Just being a fun quote. Why is he more like Ted Lasso?
I would argue Sean McDermott has said some of the funniest things that any coach has ever said over the past 10 years. If you read Ty Duncan,
it's just that. It's just not what you think. It's just not where you think the comedy comes from. It's kind of some dark comedy in there, but yes, exactly. But no, both of these teams are essentially locked into the playoffs. I'm excited to watch both of their games because I think the quarterbacks are awesome. I think the offenses have stuff to them. I think the Bills' offense I trust a little bit more because of the run game. But this is kind of what some of the worries that I had about the Patriots. Their run game being inconsistent and also their defense being a little inconsistent or just having splits and tells and tendencies. But then, the Bills aren't perfect too, but man, they pulled this off. And I thought it was a really impressive second half from Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and all of them, and the funky bunch with the Bills. But yeah, I'm excited to watch more of these teams as the season goes along. All right. High number 3. This is a smorgasbord topic. We got some more AFC contenders have some statement wins, or AFC playoff teams, we should maybe say. Everyone's a contender in AFC. If you make the dance, you're a contender. I mean, I'm dead serious when I say that. I'm not like, oh, this team I feel really good about. I'm just going to keep saying that till the end of the season. But we'll start with the Ravens skunk the Bengals, who are not starting Jake Browning, and we're not starting Joe Flacco. They were starting Joe Burrow, and they get skunked by the Ravens 24-0. The Ravens get their playoff odds up to 45%. I believe the Bengals are done, even though they were essentially done, even though everyone said, watch out, they might be scaring the playoffs, even though they had a 3% chance. The Ravens ran 40 plays, had 11 explosive plays for a 27.4 explosive play rate. That is the highest by a team this season. That is the highest by an NFL offense in the game since 2009, the Colts against the Dolphins in week 2. So since Peyton Manning was starting for the Colts, that was the highest explosive play rate for a team. Lamar only threw 12 passes, but for 150 yards. It's 2 scrambles for 26 yards. Derrick Henry had 11 carries for 100 yards. 3 of them went for 10 or more. Keaton Mitchell finished with 66 yards. What'd you think about this one, Charles McDonald? The Ravens getting up to a coin flip to the playoffs.
Oh, man, what a week for Joe Burrow. I mean, lots of talking and then 0 points.
What's his deal?
Well, I don't know.
He's really mopey in these. Yeah, I know. He's kind of saying some coded stuff. It's like, what's going on over there?
Dude, are you going to retire? Because if so, you could just do it. I don't know. That was mean. That was mean. Luck. But just pull Andrew. Look how happy Andrew is.
I don't like bad quarterbacks.
Look how happy Andrew is now watching his little 4-8 Stanford Cardinal team. Come on now. But I mean, this was just really bad from Joe. I mean, it was just weird. Just to see make as many mistakes as he did, and I guess his frustration, I'm sure, is just coming from the amount of games that he's missed. I mean, probably hard pressed to find another franchise quarterback that's gotten paid on second contract, that's missed as much football as he has over the past few years, or just playing with as many injuries as he has over the past few years. But if you're not healthy, because I mean, I just know Joe Burrow's better than that as a whole. And when you play like this, especially when Flacco, for the most part, when Flacco was in, he's playing a lot better than this. I just don't know why he had to feel he had to push himself.
He was above replacement level.
Yeah. He was for a 4-game stretch, they had a top 3 offense. That hasn't really happened at all when Joe's been the quarterback. I mean, the interception that he had on the goal line today, or not on the goal line, but in the low red zone, where he just I thought that maybe I didn't see it right, but it just felt frantic like that, where he's pressing for some reason when. Dude, your season's over. You don't really have to be out here doing this. But I don't know. I think they're kind of in a weird spot maybe for next year, because you just don't want to have performances like these pile up to close the season. But shoot, you're still all in because all these guys are paid. You're gonna run it back again. I don't know how many years Zach Taylor has left on his contract, but Mike Brown, that's not ending until the contract expires. So
no, he ain't paying two contracts. He ain't paying two coaches. No.
So I guess
joke,
they just,
but I'm dead serious. Yeah.
No, dead serious.
Yeah.
I guess they just run it back, but like for where they are now, I don't know. It feels grim because I also thought the offensive line been playing better, and today was kind of a shaky game for them. So it just feels like a back to the drawing board game for them. But unfortunately, you're back to the drawing board means you're going home for good. I mean, they were 4-9 coming to this, so it's not like they held any control over their own destiny. But at 4-10, officially eliminated, that you're just paying too much money to be 4-10. I don't know. I don't really know how else to put it.
Yeah.
You're paying way too much money to be missing the playoffs like this.
Yeah, and it's different than like the Dolphins or something where it's like, oh, okay, we got some life here, and you're doing some cool stuff, and offense is churning. And the thing too, I agree though. I thought the offensive line for the Bengals had been playing well. I think Mims got banged up today, but I even think just some of the young guys were playing well, and he was only pressured. Burrow was only pressured 14 times today, 31%. It wasn't like a game where it's like, it's like a decent amount of pressure. I don't think the Ravens pass rush is that great. But I also it wasn't one of those games. And again, we'll talk about this with the Chiefs where it was like, oh my God, he was pressured every other snap. Or, it's not one of those games where it's like, oh man, he's just overwhelmed back there. It's like, yeah, some of that happens, but I don't know. There's just something off. I know this is a longer discussion with the Bengals is just figuring out every year they kind of added new layers to their offense to try and merge what Burrow wants to do and to kind of make the offense more holistic, more holistically complete. I don't know how else to put it, but just fill in the lines to like merge the stuff that Burrow wants to do with more of a complete offense. And they had found times where that really worked. And I thought the first week that he came back, I was like, oh, okay, what they were doing with Flacco, now we're doing back with Joe Burrow. Okay, this is making sense and working. And then now, I would even say last week when I watched it, it was like, back to a lot of gun, back to kind of some more spready offense as opposed to stuff that's working into conjunction with each other. And I was like, oh, okay, T Higgins is banged up. So that changes stuff too. A lot better with two, Pro Bowl quality receivers as opposed to just Jamar Chase. But, it just kind of just didn't. Yeah, it does feel off. I mean, obviously they got skunked today, but even just watching a eye test, there are some moments of frustration where it just doesn't feel like it's working in conjunction with each other. Like everything feels, this was my original problem with the Bengals under Burrow and Zach Taylor, even on their Super Bowl run, was everything felt so siloed. This formation meant this, this formation meant this down a distance, you're going to do this. And I feel like they've kind of reverted back to that tendency in some ways in the passing game. So yeah, I don't know where you kind of go with, go from here with this, because this is the team. This is what they're bought in for. This is the O-line. This is their pass catchers. Like the defense needs the young guys to step up. And, Shamar Stewart, as of like 2 weeks ago, hadn't had one impactful play. I feel like other guys like Joseph Asai has had some really nice moments and stuff, but I don't know. This is kind of the bed that they've made with this team.
Yeah. I mean, they've tried. Go look through their depth chart. They've spent a lot of first through third round picks over that defense. 2, 3. Yeah. Seriously. Because the D line has multiple first round picks on it. Secondary's got first round pick, a lot of second round picks. The linebackers got second round picks. I mean, at some point you just got to pick someone right. I mean, you think you just luck into accidentally picking someone right at this point, but no, I mean, this is tough for them. This is tough.
It
is. Maybe they just go out and try to get a real running back in the draft, but I don't really know what's next. Outside of just hope some of these guys get better on defense, but it doesn't look like that's really possible.
I faded the Bengals before this year because I was like, I didn't think their defense was going to be good. It was been even worse than that, than what I thought. And I just kind of now it's like, okay, what now? Like, because the offense is supposed to just be a supernova offense where it's like kind of the mid-aughts 2010s, Saints. All right, we're going to just score, 42, like race to 40 every game. And it's like, that's fun and everything. But now it's like the offense is getting skunked. That's not the formula for this team. This formula for this team is to race to 30, race to 40. So that's just a total, kind of a wrench into how I even think about this. All right, but that's the Bengals. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about them. Maybe I'll talk more with Matt, some of these contenders losing or would-be contenders. Ravens, though, like I said, almost a coin flip. They play the Patriots, Packers, and Steelers. So 3 huge games to round it up. That Steelers game is the one with the most leverage, but huge 2 AFC games for them. So big. And then some other games, they need Dolphins to win next week, all that kind of stuff. But How do you feel about the Ravens right now? Before we close out, move on to the next one. Kind of feel better about
I don't know. It's such a weird.
I'll say that.
I feel better about the defense. It was a weird game for the offense. I mean, just real boomer bust. I mean, it's like you start looking at the. I remember because I was going to the box score. I was like, Lamar threw the ball 12 times. Like Derrick Henry ran the ball like 11. I was like, what the hell have you? They only had 40 plays in this game. Yeah, they got 15 first downs. They averaged 7.9 yards per play. But even like success rate was only 40%, only a little bit higher than the Bengals. And then they had like you start cut through some of their splits. They had some real low EPA numbers and some critical splits. So it's still not the Ravens offensive old, but they showed you Lamar gets a little healthier. You can start hitting those explosives, and then who knows? But it seems like he's still going to have to do the thing where he's not practicing all week just to get to Sunday. And I just don't know how sustainable it is throughout the playoffs.
And at Wisconsin, we called that the Joe Thomas because he wouldn't practice all week and he would just play. So whoever
called the Julio Jones.
Julio was another guy. Didn't practice all week, and so whoever the backup was, it was Gabe Carimi at first. Like they got all the reps all week, and then after that, it was Ricky Wagner had to do that for Gabe Carimi, and so the term was Ricky reps, which I always thought was great. Those were Ricky reps. That was the guy that had to play, had to practice all week because the starter got to sit out all week. Ricky reps. I don't know. I feel better about the defense for the Ravens. I feel like this is a top 12-ish, top 10-ish defense. I got to really kind of study really how I feel about them, but I feel like they're much better. Roquan Smith has been playing much better. I think Alohi Gilman from Kyle Van Noy made the play, but he gave it to Gilman. I think he's been playing well.
Yeah.
I think they kind of found their groove on that side of the ball. But offensively, it's just all relying on explosive plays. I think the stats you laid out, I said about the explosive play rate, they're going to live and die by that. So we'll see how that comes playoff time if they make it. But, that's kind of their formula this year, which is scary. All right. Other games in the AFC real quick. Texans, dominated the Cardinals, and the Jags dominated the Jets. And Trevor Lawrence finished with 6 total touchdowns. He went 20 of 32 for 330 yards, 5 touchdowns throwing, 1 rushing, only pressured 9 times, 0 sacks. Trevor Lawrence finished with a .73 EPA per dropback, which is the highest by a quarterback or a passing game in the Jags offense since week 15 in 2000. Mark Brunell and Jamie Martin. Jamie Martin's not a name I knew, but they split for a big game that game. .47 EPA per play is the highest the Jags have with Trevor Lawrence on the field. 64% dropback success rates, the second highest of Trevor Lawrence's career. Still had some blonde Jags moments. They had 2 guys shift at the same time. Ball snapped early. Trevor Lawrence dirts the throw because he thinks the play's dead. Gets called for intentional grounding, which was BS, by the way. Which I was just like, oh, Jags, you can't help yourselves. I think and then they played the Jets today. Brady Cook actually was okay. But the Jets are fully in Mendoza mode at this point in time. Anything on the 2 AFC South favorites, I would even say. The Jags and the Texans beating down their AFC brethren. Actually, no, the Cardinals are AFC. But anyways, beat their NFL brethren.
Yeah, the only thing I got is we hit the point in the season where the bad teams are about done. Bad teams. Just get me to January with my knees intact. That's all I'm asking for. Just let me get into the offseason with my knees intact. Because also
Cabo on 3.
You can tell when these games get out of hand so fast, it's like woof. Let's just try to get out of here. But again, I think it's still cool, like especially for the Texans and the Jaguars trying to make a push or separate from the Colts in the divisional race right now. Good to beat up the teams you're supposed to beat up like that. And man, that Texans Cardinals, both games just got out of hand so fast. I don't really have too much to add.
Oh yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, and Trevor's been playing again. Trevor's got his pumpkin, Jacoby Myers. I think BTJ had some nice moments, but man, he's been off. He's top 5 in every metric since they had Jacoby Myers. But yeah, no AFC. All right, how about this? Broncos, Patriots, Jags. Actually, no, the 4 teams at 1. So we'll go Texans, Bills, Jags, Broncos. Who do you feel the best about?
Texans, Bills, Jags, Broncos, Texans. I think. CJ looks good.
I think so.
He has looked good, but the offense is coming together, and then the defense. They play like Georgia, dude. It's fun. Like they just run through everybody. Doesn't matter what score it is. Who you are. They're just trying to hunt. So, Man, like Houston, that's a Super Bowl contender too. Really good team.
I think I know, and I feel better about the Jags than I have. I would go to the Texans too. I would go probably Texans Broncos, to be honest, because how the Broncos look today. But I think the Texans I have at 1 as well. Ah, man, the defense, it's just that's such a hard formula to beat, especially come playoff time, and because they're previously under Ryans, you can run on them a little bit, and now it's like you still can, but it's not like a huge split. It's like they're 12th. It's not like they're 28th. So it's like, I don't know, man. They can play man, they can blitz you, they can rush with 4 and just decapitate you. And now their offense is like, okay. Like the offense can be explosive and the run game is like fine. Like, and that's huge. If they can just be fine in the run game, they don't have to be amazing, just fine. And it's been trending that way. So yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, let's get to the lows. Speaking of more AFC teams, the Chiefs are not making the playoffs. They are. I thought how this game was starting, how that first drive went. I was like, oh, here they go. And it ends with Patrick Mahomes in an ACL tear and the Chiefs missing the playoffs for the first time since 2014 after a run of AFC championship game after AFC championship game and Super Bowl appearance. Missing the playoffs, but the Chargers and their defense pressured Mahomes 17 times, sacked him 5 times. I thought Justin Herbert had some Hadoukens in this game. Holy crap, especially at the end of the first half. The Chargers went ugly ball. They went 17 snaps with 6 offensive linemen. And also, I thought it was a great defensive game plan from Jesse Minter, which I'll talk about. What'd you think about this? Chiefs officially out of the playoffs. I don't know if I would say dynasty over, but at least maybe this iteration of this regime, this franchise is over. No, not like the coaches or anything, but just like this iteration, just the feeling of it all.
Yeah.
This run.
It's got to change.
The Chargers now have a 94% chance to make the playoffs. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean,
Chiefs.
I do think that this palate like cleanser was necessary for them. Like maybe missing the playoffs and like really having to take a hard look at what you're doing is good for you, but not like this. Like not to have Mahomes tear his ACL along with it. That sucks. I guess like only like but I have there is if it's only just an ACL, then shoot, like he's got a chance where he's such a freak athlete, he could potentially get back, and recover and be able to play early next year. We'll have to see with that, but that's a bummer that you have to take this medicine also while getting Mahomes hurt. But they obviously just got to take a hard look at like the players that they've coveted, the type of players that they've coveted on offensive skill talent over the past few years. I mean, you can just see it. They're just way too small out there. At receiver, running back, they've just kind of let that fall to the wayside. And now your offensive line's banged up. Just not enough firepower for when you have that guy as your quarterback. It's like the idea that winning 12 games or even having the season you had last year like means you did a good job. It's like, no, like it should never be this, discombobulated. And I think a lot of this stuff this year was just unlucky. Some of the late game stuff, some lucky, some disgraceful, like the end of the Jacksonville game where like, I don't know how you just let that up, but shoot, like the offense was still really good this year while he played, man. Like they still were top 3, top 4 in most efficiency stats. The defense was a little up and down, but even then, like recently we still saw that even though the personnel might be lacking on defense, Bags still can get you and Chris Jones can get you and Karlofsky can get you in the right spots. So, it wasn't like if they had snuck into the playoffs, I would be like, hey, I don't know. Like they still got some of the pieces, but now officially eliminated, which I think it can be good for them if they take the time to actually learn the lessons. Like they just got to switch up whatever personnel stuff they're doing because they're just too small on offense. I mean, Xavier Worthy got hurt again today. I don't really know how you can even put him back out on the field because it's just so small. And, that's why I have small people on the football field.
Especially when it gets cold. It's just, I know everyone thinks that's just some meathead edge, but it's just kind of how it goes. And that's how it feels, man. It's just like everything feels tight. And when, at least this year, when they were rolling a little bit or relatively rolling, It was the O-line looked good. And it was like, oh man, you got Mahomes with a juiced up O-line. Like, doesn't matter who's catching the ball. That's why Tyquan Thornton was catching some deep balls, because Mahomes had time to launch them. And then Rashee Rice gets back, and you get that kind of perfect window where it was like before the O-line is kind of falling apart, where it was like, okay, now you got the skill guys there. And actually for a couple of weeks, it was like feeling okay. That's why even a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, man, I feel good about them as anybody. And then now this was the worst version of it, because the O-line falls apart and then no one can make a play at receiver or running back. I mean, you're throwing up wheel routes to Kareem Hunt, and Hanley's just gonna like out athlete him. Former receiver just looks amazing on it. And I thought too, it was just like everything always just feels tight going in. After the first month of the season, I had a rant with Matt where I was like, they look small and slow. And that's the thing, is like Xavier Worthy tested fast. And yeah, in open field, he can get fast, but how many guys does he make miss? Like nobody. He runs out of bounds most of the time. And it's like, well, he's banged up. And it's like, well, that's the problem. Like, it's football. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just have a whole bunch of welterweights out there. And two, or more so, the running back thing, I think we could just say over and over again. It's like, doesn't matter how good the run scheme is. If sometimes you need guys to make plays, football players have to make plays. The coaches can scheme up as much as they want. The quarterback can be a hero as much as they want, but it's like, guys got to make a play. They got to die for a football. They got to, for a football that's not perfectly in their chest, they got to block this guy. They got to catch a route that where it's actually covered. And it just feels like nobody makes a play. I really felt it last week, especially again this week. Outside the first drive. In the first drive, I was like, oh, okay, they got some good stuff. But I mean, we have a lot of conversations how much they need on the roster. They need more juice up front. DB wise, they've been figuring out what their DBs are, but they need another one there. I think they need a legit starting running back. I think they need size at receiver. That's not Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they need a real Z type. Like, they need a guy that can just beat zone. Kelsey's probably going to move on. And you can tell Travis is not feeling that cold weather anymore when he's out there. He's like, screw this. This sucks. Maybe give me back the dad bod. But I also too I felt like they just get out schemed, and this has happened a few times now. Like Jesse Minter is one of the best coaches in the game, schematic coaches in the game, defense coordinator for the Chargers. Sometimes he can get got because he doesn't have the personnel. Like, I thought the Chiefs too should have ran the ball a little bit more in this game, but odd mirror. And this is why I want to bring this up. Odd mirror is when you rush three. That's odd. Three down front technically. And then mirror is you have two defenders. You can do this out of four down front as well. But mirror is you have two defenders. One of them has the back when the back releases to one side, and then the other one has the quarterback as a spy, whichever side he goes. And usually you have a three-man rush. They have a two-way go. Usually can bait the quarterback to break contain to one side. Then the guy that's mirroring them can loop around. The Bills have done it, and I really like when the Bills do it. The Chargers, though, and Minter have done it a ton against Mahomes, and other teams have done it against Mahomes, and they still can't freaking figure out any way to beat it because Mahomes creates so much. And when you run and behind these mirror fronts, you can run man, you can run whatever you want, but teams will run man coverage or they'll run two man, because against two man, if you just think 5 guys are covering the 5 eligibles and you got the 2 deep guys, no one's on the quarterback. One of the answers for a quarterback against two man, it's one, which is usually an outbreaker, to scramble. But if you do this, when you do these mirror looks, there's Mahomes going, okay, I'm going to just enter creation. It's 2 man. This is great. Oh, shoot. Okay, now I'm going to break contained, and then here comes the mirror guy scraping over the top. They rush 3. They got multiple sacks off of these looks today. And I would say they ran it at least 4 or 5 times on third down. So I had to bring that up with Minter and just say I thought they did an amazing job of smothering the Chiefs' passing game and Mahomes and just frustrating them. And it was just really just a lot of these mirror fronts that they're running. I thought it was just an awesome job by him because he's such a good coach.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, Kirby Smart tried to he tried to mirror Jalen Milroe. And I think it was the SEC title game. And Milroe was faster than the mirror player. And it was
ran him. Yeah.
It was ugly. Yeah. Because that was Jalen Walker. He was a freshman. He was like probably 20 pounds lighter. So they had him as the spy, which was working. But the second guy was getting cooked. And now you're just down 2 guys, and he's running free through the secondary.
That's it.
But Mahomes
if he beats the mirror, you're dead. You got nobody looking at the quarterback.
Dead.
Yeah, I know
it.
And I love it. I've been wondering why more teams haven't used it like every third down, because especially all these quarterbacks that create so much, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, And you see it sprinkled in more and more. And I'm curious if it just cranks up even more as that's put on tape even more. Because I thought that was just they did it at least 4 times. And I would guess more. That's just the ones that I took notes on. Also, speaking of play calling, Greg Roman had a very frustrating Greg Roman sequence for me. First and goal from the 4. He calls a counter play of 21 jumbo with Matlock on the field, TFL for 2 yards. Second and goal from the 6, goes 22 jumbo. So 22 jumbo with Matlock, who's not going to catch the football. So 6 offensive linemen, Matlock, another tight end on the 6-yard line on second down. And then they run like the most staple play action play. And I was like, no kidding. That's what you guys are running. You're not going to run the ball from the 6 out of that look. And then third and goal from the 6, they drop 8. Herbert has nobody open. They're forced to kick a field goal. But I had that written down because it's like, God, you are so frustrating, Craig Roman. And I have to have a note about how frustrating you are as a play caller. But I did think Herbo had some Hadoukens throughout this game and had some really good throws.
Good player. Yeah.
Good play. All right, let's move on to low number 2. This could be a high because the Rams are just a juggernaut, but the Lions blow a 10-point lead and lose to the Rams 41-34. Rams clinch a playoff spot, but maybe the low is this. Davante Adams leaves with a hamstring injury because the football gods did not want us to have a complete and fun Sunday, apparently. But I just thought Rams kind of, after initial onslaught, I would say, and I thought there were some amazing moments from the Lions offense. They ran some dig post combos for a couple times. One to St. Brown, one to Jameson Williams. Aiden Hutchinson gets an interception. And I was like, oh boy, Lions, he got him going. And then the Rams just rammed it out. They just took over throughout that game. And they just took advantage of the injuries. It was a war of attrition in this game. But what'd you think about this one? Rams taking it to the Lions.
I think this one went about expected. It was awesome. Like it was a whole lot of fun to see those two teams just run up and down the field. But like when the Rams were able to kind of stiff arm that lead and push it to 14 late, I think it was 41-27. I was like, this is what like the real contenders do. And
yes,
like Detroit's a good team, but like watching the Rams this year. And just how efficient they are. It's kind of like they're like the Indiana this year of the NFL, where the operations are so clean on so many plays. It doesn't really feel like they mess up. And even on the games when they do have moments where they mess up, like the Rams, they still have near 60% completion percentage today, 519 yards, just a machine. So even when you get to some of the spots where you're like, oh man, like the Lions, they still scored. The Lions, they were still able to score all these points today. Well, I mean, they still scored 41. They averaged almost 4 points per drive today. 64% rushing success rate, just a monster in terms of efficiency. And I think it's kind of cool that they've had these games where, because everyone's like, man, like the turnovers are going to regress. They're going to regress. And yes, they have, and they're still scoring like 30 and 40 points even when they turn the ball over. Like that is really, really kind of frightening. I think when you look at how just dominant they've been playing today. And even like the defense, they had some nice moments, probably just a little bit too many explosive plays there, here and there. But like down to down, they really weren't all that bad, even though they gave up 34 and there were some big plays to be had at the end of it. Like they held Detroit to almost 30% of Detroit's drives didn't even gain a first down today. So it's real boomer bust out there. Right. I just that Rams team, like that's gonna be so tough to stop in the Super Bowl. I just don't know. Like what are you supposed to play against that offense that you really think could slow them down? They just have so many answers.
That's it. It's basically you got to hope Adams misses time, because if he's healthy, it's like, how do you stop this? Because no team can guard him in man coverage, because not a lot of teams have 2 corners that can do that, and the tight ends are cooking. I mean, shoot, the freaking Matthew Stafford's targeting Colby Parkinson on go balls. In man coverage, because it was who was out there. It was I figured that. I was wondering if because the Lions had so many DB injuries, what the Rams would kind of do. And they went a whole bunch of 11 personnel, 63% success rate out of 11, 382 yards, 8.88 yards per play. And Colby Parkinson split out. It's Daniel Thomas guarding him, and they just takes the one-on-one to freaking Colby Parkinson. And I was like, that's what the Rams are doing right now. It's they're ISOing Colby Parkinson and just taking him on go balls and scoring on them. Like, it's not just Adams and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams. It's like those guys are catching touchdowns and getting designer plays for him. I mean, they had 11 explosive plays, 9 explosive passes, 64.3% rushing success rate. And you got to remember, there's no quarterback run game in this run game. This is just all at you runs, and they are just peppering them. I mean, they had 18 successful runs today. That's just outstanding on 20 to 28 design runs. And I thought too, at first I was like, oh man, the Lions really got them. All the in-breakers, I was like, man, that's really getting the Rams, these kind of double in-breaking routes, like the dig and post. Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown and the Jameson Williams touchdown. Same exact concept. Dig, Mills, some people call it, but dig, which occupies the safety because the Rams are on quarters, and then you just throw the post behind them. And then they adjusted. If you told me that the Lions if I played this Rams defense, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to pound the rock on them. I'm going to get big against this dime personnel, and I'm going to pound the rock on them. The Lions only had 4 successful runs today. They had 0 explosive runs. And like you said, come playoff time, you were talking about the offense. But if this defense can stop the run, it's like they can do so much rushing the passer and doing so many funky stuff. Like they just have so many answers on this team that it's like, man, I feel as good about them as literally anybody. Like they're easily the best team to me.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the best team. I need to go back, but because it kind of felt like during the game, like maybe they were selling out just to stop Jahmyr Gibbs, because that's been one of the things that is the scariest thing about the Lions to me. It's not like Jared Goff hitting those in-breakers. That's always going to happen. But the fact that they have a guy who it's like multiple times a game, he's capable of ripping off a 50-yard run, 60-yard run.
Yeah.
Longer than that. To hold him to I know he had 33 yards on first and second down, barely any successful runs today. I'm not sure if he had a successful run on first and second down. Like you said, no explosive runs today. Just that's how you do it, man. Like if you're going to slow down this offense while still eating chunks in the passing game, you're going to have to stop Gibbs. And I know that Jared Goff still had his day and had a big second half, but man, it's undoubtedly harder for that offense as Gibbs is going to get going. If Gibbs can't get going, and I think you just saw up until late where they had answers in the passing game, but you're still missing that easy button that you had in the running game. And then Jared Goff in the second half wasn't quite playing as well and kind of faded. And that's probably just going to be how their season ends. You don't quite have enough. Little bit of reloading here, and Jared Goff fades late, and you're off into the sunset. But I still think if you're the Lions, you should feel pretty good about going into next year. You're nothing's really changed. I don't think if you can kind of get those guys back up to speed on the offensive line, closer to where you were last year, maybe than this year, you're really not all that far away. Even though it might feel like it at certain times when you play the Rams.
And I thought that's kind of how I feel about them as a franchise. This was kind of a half deep breath year. You're replacing both coordinators. Campbell benches one of them, and he goes, I'm going to call plays next year. And he's been doing a good job. So, and I like to watch Shepard, how he's adjusted. They've just had so many injuries. Brian Branch got hurt last year, and it's barely even a blip on anyone's radar. It's they've had injuries throughout the whole year. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. They still have a 26% chance, according to New York Times Athletic. They got the Steelers, Vikings, and Bears. So let's just say that they beat the Vikings, it goes up to 38%. If they beat the Steelers, it goes up to 47% right now. So it's basically a win or go home in week 18 against the Bears, more or less. But like you said, they only had 4 successful runs. They were all David Montgomery runs. Not a single Jahmyr Gibbs successful run on the day. That's something from the Rams defense. That's why I feel good about them.
Yeah.
All right. Something I don't feel as good about. These 2 offenses. This is low number 3. This is well, I feel good about one of these offenses. That's the Bears smack the Browns. That was not even a contest in the freezing cold. We got Ron Torber out there. Got negative 20 wind chill. It was all the makings of a bad one. And the Eagles just keep throwing dirt on the Raiders' grave. The Eagles went 31-0. For some reason, teams keep him playing Kenny Pickett. 2 teams traded for him this offseason. I'm still blown. My mind is blown by that. It's absolutely insane, and I just still can't figure it out why. Maybe it's just because he has a first rounder next to him. But what did you think about these games where, the Browns offense was atrocious. The Raiders offense was atrocious.
Terrible.
Cool stuff from the Bears offense, at least.
Yeah, Bears look awesome. The Eagles, I to be honest with you, I saw maybe 4 plays for that Eagles-Raiders game. That's I did not let that play on my TV. No, but I do come with something funny. Because I was watching because the first thing I really saw from that game was the Raiders had 75 yards of offense in this game, which of course made me morbidly curious because I remembered that earlier against the Chiefs this year in Week 7, they had 95 yards in the game. So I was like, holy hell! Like, has there ever been a season like where a team has finished 2 games with less than 100 yards of offense, or really like maxing out at 95? And the answer is not, at least in the past 20 years, according to True Media. There have been 17 games since 2000 where a team has had less than 95 total yards, and the 2025 Las Vegas Raiders have 2 of them. And the Jets this year, they also have one too. Their Week 6 game against the Broncos over in London. So we are
that's right.
We are breaking barriers in 2025. But no, like this is embarrassing, man. Like, how do you? It's really it's shocking that your offense can be this bad. Like Kenny Pickett's final numbers for the day, he finished with 29 net passing yards on 29 dropbacks with an interception. Like, dude, that's nothing. Like, it's 1 yard per attempt, man. What happened here? So I think it's obvious, like, you have to move on from Pete. And I was joking with someone. I think this Pete run might be so bad and so forgettable that in like 15 years, like, remember when Pete Carroll coached the Raiders? Like, no,
yeah,
he did.
Yeah, that's right.
He did.
It's like John Fox with the Bears.
Yes.
It's like, it's like that happened.
Yeah. And the Browns, like, okay, the Browns, you're drafting a quarterback. That's the only thing. Come on, let's be adults here about this. Well, they are. The rest of us need to be adults here about this and be honest about this. They're drafting a quarterback.
They're in Mendoza mode as well.
They don't have a choice.
Lenore's
good.
Going back to school. I know. I love that Mendoza.
I keep people keep telling me, like, they're like, oh, what? So the Browns should just take Mendoza or Dante Moore? I'm like, yeah, why not? Yeah. Sounds like a good plan to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lamar Jackson's going to be healthy next year. The Bengals are going to be better at some point. Steelers are still Steelers. Yeah, you need a quarterback.
Walk in tomorrow, play better. No, I agree. The Browns didn't have a first down until 4 minutes left in the second quarter. They only had 1 first down in the entire first half. Yeah. That was that 3rd and 10 bomb to Isaiah Bond. I think Fox has stats that it was the first time the Bears have only held a team to 1 first down in the first half since at least the year 2000, which is probably the longest that they could look back. I mean, the Browns are down their entire line. They got 5th round rookie quarterback. They're on the road, -20 wind chill. Ron Torbert's crew is officiating this game. I got tagged so many times in the first half because they had so many botched calls apparently. And they finished with 26 rushing yards. They had 1 successful run the entire game, the Browns. Shadur Sanders finished with -0.53 EPA per dropback, 4.1 net yards per attempt, 3 picks. It was ugly on that side of the ball. It looked like a team with starting a bunch of rookies in the backup offensive lineman that like didn't even matter who the Bears were playing. It was like, oh yeah, Austin Booker had a breakout game. I was like, yeah, you better against this team right now.
Grady Jarrett had a sack today. Like I was like,
it was just playing. Everybody having fun.
But I gotta say,
I'm
about to say selfishly for as a lover of defensive linemen, I am glad that this quarterback situation is clearing up to a point where we can kind of dial in on Myles Garrett and what he's done here. Another 1.5 sacks today. That puts him at 21.5. He's 1 away from tying the record. I guess another half sack. So basically 2 away from breaking it. He's got 3 games left. And Ozzie Trapillo, I am so sorry that I happened to you today. Because every single clear passing down, which there weren't many, because the Browns offense doesn't score. Like he's doing all this in extreme negative game scripts. But all these passing downs, no, he was cooking Ozzie, or at least going as hard as he could. So respect for him holding up and not giving up more sacks than he did. But if Myles Garrett does not get this record in the next couple games, I don't know who they play, but he wants it bad, as he should, because he's so close. They play the Bills, the Steelers. Oh, please get on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, that's a duck. They play the Bills, Steelers, and the Bengals to close the season. But if you want to beat the old heads and not give them an inch to complain, you need to get it done in the next 2 games. So 2 sacks on Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers, and we're through. Come on, Miles. Right there.
He got it, a sack or the hit or something, and they were down like 4 scores, and like the whole defense is like erupted. You would have thought that they won the game on that because they're all just cheering for Myles Garrett to get him.
What else do we got here?
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, you got to find a win, man. Everybody needs a win. I think there was something like he has like no sacks against the Steelers or some crazy stat or something like that, Myles Garrett. But I think Aaron Rodgers might get rid of the ball in like 1.5 seconds in that game. Like that ball is going to be out quick because he doesn't want to be on the highlight reel. So that's just going to be that ball is going to be there's going to be all like, bubbles
Josh
and slants.
Josh might do it. Just zone
out.
Josh
would do the Brett Favre, Michael Strahan thing.
Yeah, or just I was trying to do some golden retriever stuff and I got sacked.
Yeah,
that's always on the
get the zoomies. Yeah, Professor Chaos kicks in. It happens. It happens with Josh. But now, Bears thoughts real quick. Caleb Williams had some great moments, I thought, through the air. 7 explosive passes, almost a 50% dropback success rate. Really pushed the ball, which, again, is impressive. I always think that you should push the ball in the cold because just, again, it's harder to dink and dunk anyways. But now imagine the cold with a slick ball. But throws a ton of more air yards, 7 of 14, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, did well against the blitz, against pressure, shredded them on play action and bootlegs outside the pocket. Yet he went 10 of 13, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns on play action. And I thought he did a really good job because this is how you get the Browns defense, Jim Schwartz, those out routes and outbreakers. Throws to the outside, 8 of 12, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. I thought he had a nice game. And I thought Colson Loveland had some great moments. Some diving catches. Roman Dunze was out. DeAndre Swift had a sweet run, like one of my favorite runs he's ever had in his career for the touchdown. And then they're really getting Luther Burden going, and he's got some real juice, and he's doing some dirty work stuff. So they're, if this team makes the playoffs, and they're right there. What's their odds right now? They got to be way up there. 81% right now to make the playoffs. The Bears, if they win next week against the Packers, it goes to 95%. Basically, if they win any of these games, all NFC games going out. But man, this offense, they can be explosive and they can cook and they can do some cool stuff. All right, we're wrapping up. Any thoughts on Phillip Rivers? Seahawks won that game 18-16, a whole bunch of field goals.
It was cool, honestly.
It was cool.
It was cool. It was cool because
yes.
Because it was like, what if you just put someone's brain on the field and they couldn't really do much else? Because to be fair,
the Futurama head.
Yes, exactly.
The glass jar.
And that might have been more mobile because there was one play, I think it was one of the first plays, he was under pressure. He like looked like he was going to take a shuffle and he didn't go anywhere. Like, I don't know if he moved 1 inch. Then he just lofted up like a little duck over to the sideline. But I think once he got used to like, okay, I can only throw the ball about 5-6 yards probably.
Yeah.
If we're going to keep it a bean. They were operated a lot better than they were like during that stretch when Daniel Jones was like kind of tanking down before he broke his leg.
When he was hobbling a little bit.
Yes. Like, this was a clean operation. They just couldn't throw the ball, and it was like, man, like they were in the right spot. They were moving faster. The tempo was better. The cadences were better. But, hey, Phil's eating good. He ain't been doing the other stuff. He still needs to do the other stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple plays where I got really excited and pretty giddy about it. And I think you had the best line in the group chat. You said, this is just pure muscle memory. Like, this is just, this is all instinct, just kicking over and just all of his training is just kicking over. Someone in our group chat, it was 3rd and 7. He goes, oh my God, it's 3rd and 7. Like, he was saying it like it was like a horror movie. Like, it's like a T-Rex was coming or something like that. Like, he's like, oh my God, it's 3rd and 7. Oh no. I was digging it. I thought he did a good job. I thought he did all he could. And I agree with you. Once he kind of copped the speed, I thought there was a hilarious moment where he threw like a fade ball to Josh Downs and Downs wins and then finally looks up for it and he can't find it. But because he's not used to Phillip Rivers timing, which is get the ball, rid of the ball so early that he lets it float out there. I thought that was hilarious because it was a good ball. They're running choice routes to Amir Abdullah. And I was like, this is great. Dude, like, this is awesome. just flick, the ball just flicking out every which way. I was digging it, man. It was dude, fun.
He came, he's like, oh, saddle up, boys. I'm running the show today. Because even when they got down to that last when they kicked the field goal, they got down to 3rd down, 3rd and 7, and he killed it to the power that got, I think I had like 4th and 3. And I was like, did they talk about like if they're going to go for it on 4th down? Because it seemed like Rivers thought they were going to go for it no matter what. So because he checked into the run, got them to burn their last time out, and he's like kind of waiting at like 4th and 3, we're going to go for it, right? No, actually, you're 44. You haven't played in 5 years. We're going to kick this field goal.
we actually are.
We're going to kick.
Oh man, it truly was like an old singer coming up and go like, "All right, guys, we're playing in C. All right, everybody ready? Keep up with the beat. All right, let's go." Like it's just like playing with some band. Like, okay, all right, we're going with Phil today. Yeah, I mean, and then offensive side, I thought the Colts defense played real well. I mean, the Seahawks were kind of stifled throughout the game. They got going in the second half. You know, obviously they got so many field goals, so they're getting scoring range. But I don't know. I was kind of having fun. He's gonna be sore today. I'll tell you that. He was huffing and puffing because you should know his adrenaline was just through the roof. And he came off at the first drive or something like that, and he was just so amped up. And you know, as a dad getting back in shape, I can relate, but I didn't play an NFL football game, and I'm also 10 years younger. So no, I don't know. It wasn't a travesty. It was actually very entertaining. No, I couldn't keep my eyes off of it.
It was cool.
It was, yeah, cool, yeah. It was. That's why Philip Rivers is the best, man. I had a lot of fun watching it. And the Seahawks win another game. Colts go to 10% chance to make the playoffs, sadly. But yeah, we'll have plenty more discussions about that as well. But week 15. We're wrapping it up today. A lot of fun with you, Chuck. That was a lot of fun today. Great slate of games. We'll be back. I'll be back on Monday, actually, with a very, very special guest for an NFL draft look ahead and college football playoff look ahead. So come join me for that. Be a lot of fun there. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice. That's Charles McDonald. You can find him at 4Verts on social media. Subscribe to us, follow us, rate us wherever you get your podcasts. 5 stars, pretty please. Also leave some reviews, comments, all that good stuff. Watch us on YouTube, on the Yahoo Sports YouTube channel, like some of you are right now, watching us live on these Sunday shows. All of our pods are up there. Plenty of great content on the Yahoo Sports channel and the Yahoo Fantasy channel as well. Thanks to Stone, Austin, and Madison behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you all for listening. See you guys next time.